One of the many movies I enjoyed back in the 90s was a movie called Contact. And in that movie, there was a quote that said something like this: "The first rule in government spending is why build one when you can have two at twice the price?" And although we don't want to spend double unless we have to, having redundancy to improve fault tolerance is really important in today's networks that need to be up all the time. And if we apply that concept to our checkpoint gateways, if we have two of them in place and one of them fails, we can continue to have functionality and connectivity through the network. And that includes the ability to have VPNs that were terminated at one gateway and have those automatically transferred to the other one in the event that the first one fails. And that's done through the concept of a cluster called Cluster XL when we have two or more gateways working together to provide that fault tolerance. And there's a couple of modes that we can choose from. One of those is high availability, or HA. And with HA, only one of the gateways is active, meaning it's actively doing the work of forwarding traffic, maintaining the VPNs, and enforcing policy. And the other one, or ones if we have multiple, are acting as standbys. And acting as a standby, a device is kind of like a backup artist in a play or a performance, where they're studying the lines, they know all the details, and if the performer, if the main actor, goes sick or missing, then the standby or the backup artist or actor can step in and take his place. So with high availability, it's going to have one single active device and the other devices are going to be standbys. Now, in the event that there is a problem, either the active device knows he's going to go down, he sends out a notification for somebody else to take over, or if he simply goes away. And the standbys notice this because they're keeping in touch with that active. And if they see that the active is no longer responding, they can then, in the absence of the active gateway, they can go ahead and turn themselves from a standby unit to be active. And initially, when we power up the network, we can assign priority numbers so that the two gateways will decide based on priority when the network is just brought up which one will go ahead and be active, and the other one with a worse priority will be standby. In the event that the active goes away and the standby has to promote himself and now become active, the question comes up, well, when this device comes back on the network, do we want to flop over and have the device that's currently acting as active go back to standby and have the device that just returned to the network go back as active? And the answer to that, I think, in my opinion, would be no, because we don't want disruptions of swapping back and forth every time there's a change in the network. We really only want to force a change if there's a problem in the network. And Checkpoint feels the same way because the option of maintain current active member is the default setting when working with high availability clusters. And that basically means this: if Firewall 1 had been originally the active gateway and Firewall 2 had been the standby, and then Firewall 1 went away for a period of time and Firewall 2 went active, at the point when Firewall 1 comes back, even if it has a better priority number, this setting right here is going to cause Firewall 2 to stay as the active gateway in the cluster. And if we want Firewall 1 to become the active again, we can go ahead and we can force it back over. But it's not just going to happen with this setting. It's not going to happen dynamically with the intention of not causing a further disruption of any type in the network. The other option for a cluster is load sharing. And with load sharing, we're going to have both gateways be active. And because they're both active, they're both sharing the load. Meaning, for example, some sessions are going to be carried by Firewall 1, other sessions will be carried by Firewall 2. And in deciding who's going to carry what traffic in load sharing, where they're both active, we could have either multicast, where they sort it out amongst themselves regarding who will get what sessions and streams of traffic. And the other option is unicast. And with unicast, we have one device in the cluster that's kind of like making the decisions and then deciding who will get what and diverting the traffic to the right gateways. But in either case, with load sharing, it's an active-active model with both gateways actively moving traffic on behalf of the network. In this nugget, we've taken a look at some high availability options in a checkpoint environment regarding the gateways, including high availability, which is active/standby, or load sharing, which is active-active. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.